Welcome to Innovators Unscripted, the podcast for innovators by innovators. Today, Tina and I are joined by the amazing Lisa Nowakowski, the math guru from EduProtocols, and so many other things that we are going to dive into and talk about today with your story. So welcome, Lisa. Before we get into it, can you just take a brief moment to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, hi. My name's Lisa, and I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher actually. Currently, I am a tech TOSA slash instructional coach right now in my district. I have no idea how long I've been teaching. I've been teaching for a very long time, and I've been doing EduProtocols for a very long time as well. So, thank you.
Awesome. And we always like to start with a little bit of an icebreaker because we know that innovators are notorious multitaskers. And just based on the job description you just provided, it sounds like you really fit the bill on that multitasker mentality. So before you hopped on to this meeting today, how many browser tabs did you have open? And maybe share with us one that's unexpected.
Oh, I didn't have very many open at all. I was really good this morning. So I only had maybe like 10 open. Like my record is 52. Um, I don't know. I don't remember why I had 52 open. Excuse me, but I had 52 open. Most unexpected was probably, I still had one open from last night, which was the Author Nexus tab because I needed to get some information on my book, sales on my book.
Oh,
It sounds way
That
more
is
impressive than it really was, and just I don't know what to say.
that's incredible. Like, okay, you just have to realize how incredible you are because very few people can be like, I have the tab for my book. Because that's just like you have to own the fact that there are very few people in the world who can be like, I just have my book tab open. It's cool. Like not like a book talk tab, but like a book, my book tab.
Yeah,
So
that it is really cool. Yeah.
So I want to hop back in a time machine, I always say, to Mountain View 2012,
Yeah.
which the program for Google was actually called the Google Teacher Academy, and it wasn't just anywhere. So if people don't really know about Mountain View, there it's the Googleplex, right? It's like the center of the Google universe.
Yes.
So for the people who've joined this program much later, tell us a little bit, because I think at that time it wasn't really like a challenge or a problem of practice, but tell us where you were in your career. Like, how did you hear about it? Like, what was that experience like, Mountain View 2012?
Yeah, so 2012 was an interesting year. So they had the Teacher Academy. They had two that year. They in the United States, and one of them they were only planning on having one in New York, and that was like in the fall at some point. And I had applied to that one, and I got denied, and that was I was crushed. Not really, but like it was sad. And but what they had realized at the time, I later found out, was that they had so many incredible people that were applying for it that they opened up another one in December of that year. So that was going to be in Mountain View. And I applied for it, and I was encouraged to apply for it too by Alice Keeler. So the wonderful Alice Keeler. And if you all don't know Alice Keeler, you need to know her. She is amazing. She is the queen of multitasking. I can't say enough good things about her. And I was inspired by her. I was taking a course, and I live in California. And at the time we had CUE, the CUE community, CUE, and it's now called Cali. And they had an innovative educator program. And so through that, I was, doing it was all tech based and, learning more about it and having a really good time. And I applied and I got in, and I was incredibly thrilled. And it was inspiring. And I got to meet all these amazing people. Marlena Hebern, who is co-author of the original EduProtocols book, was at that academy. Alice was at that academy, and several friends that I met there were there as well. And it was amazing. It was so much fun.
That sounds like, and these are all people that, you've heard about, and then you're like, you move down that path of going, I can do this, right? And so then you get over to
Yeah.
Mountain View in 2012, and I think what was that energy and experience like? I think going back, even though the processes change or the content end of an innovator program changes, it's still a lot about that innovator community. And you've already dropped like some really great names that have inspired you in your tech sphere, so to speak. So could you tell us a little bit more about 2012 and being there and what the community was like? Like, how was the whole process of the academy, even though it's probably different? What was that experience like?
I just remember like a lot of energy. There was, I think, 80 to 100 of us there. Like I just, trying to remember back that far. But it was a lot of high energy. There was lots of us just chatting, and there were just these amazing people that I just felt like I don't deserve to be here. Like these other people are just so amazing, doing all these amazing things. Like Holly Clark was in that one too. Like, so I met Holly. Who else? Like, just all these amazing people that were there and just doing amazing things and had such great energy. It's a lot like it is now, I think, with like just the camaraderie and everybody really being happy and like the excitement and the energy is really up and you feel really good being there. So it was, yeah, it was fun. Like there were a lot of big names in my group.
You keep saying all these other big names, but you have to realize like you are also one of those big names. As Tina and I were waiting for you to come on the call today, we were talking about how we ourselves were fangirling
Oh,
over the
thank
chance
you.
to get to talk to you today. So we talk a lot about like imposter syndrome, and we've talked a lot about that with innovators on this podcast and ourselves. And we can just see, like you're saying, all these big names. You're one of those big names. And I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
what
I,
led
I
you.
don't see it that way, but thank you.
No, we absolutely do. And you spent that awesome time at the academy, but then after the academy, you continued innovating in your classroom, which eventually led to the creation of MathReps and your
Yes.
work with EduProtocols.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, can you tell us like what was the moment where you realized that there was a real need for something like MathReps?
Oh, I love this story. So yes, I have this story. So I had been friends with John Crippo because through the Innovator Academy and through Alice Keeler, I started doing presentations with Q. And so long ago, they had something called Q Rockstars. And so John Crippo was the godfather of Q Rockstars. He had created them. And so through that, I had gotten into that and met John. And so had just gotten to know him. And I was watching one of his presentations about 8 parts of speech. And if, for those people who don't know what 8 parts of speech is, you have a picture. And he created this through being in the classroom. He was given a classroom with no textbooks, nothing. So, and he was like, okay, I now have to teach, parts of speech. And it was a 6th grade class, I believe. And what you do is you have an image, a picture, and you have to find nouns, verbs, adjectives, the 8 parts of speech, and then you write a whole paragraph with it. It's amazing, right? So I watched him do this, and like it was real quick, it was real fun. I was like, oh, I can do this with math. And because my brain always goes to math, I've just always kind of been kind of a mathy kind of brain. And I was like, I could do this with math. This is amazing. And then I sat down, I was like, this is going to be a lot more than just one piece of paper. Okay. Excuse me. And so I had thought, at the time I was teaching 5th grade and my students, so we were in trimester. So the first trimester is all the OA, so orders of operation and numbers in base 10, like place value and adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and all that good stuff. Trimester 2 is the fractions, and then trimester 3 is like everything else. And then by the time you hit trimester 3, they've forgotten everything that they had done in trimester 1. And I wanted to kind of stop that because we were in the process of getting a math program that I was not a fan of. And it didn't hit a lot of the things that it needed to hit. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just create this thing. Like, and I honestly didn't realize what I was onto until like it was kind of done and I was looking at it and other people had started pointing out that's how my brain works too. I'm like, no, this just all makes sense. You put all these things together. So the very first math rep had something like somewhere around 9 standards that were represented on it. And they were all the base 10 ones, and there was some adding and subtracting ones that were in there, and then there was decimals in there and all that good stuff. So it was essentially you take one number and you manipulate it in all the different ways. You take that one number and you multiply it by 10, multiply it by 100, multiply it by 1,000. You multiply it by 1/10, you multiply it by 100th. Then you add some, then you subtract some, and then the adding and subtracting was brilliant because there was always a zero. So with the subtracting and the zero part, they always had to regroup for the zero, and that, and like, so they got really good at that. And then there was always a decimal thing, and there was percentages, and like everything was on one page. And what it did, and again, I didn't realize it at the time, was it brought all of the concepts that we teach in isolation all together so that the kids could see the patterns and see how all of that started to work together. And then I started to build out more because I needed more for like multiplication and division. So it was just for my classroom, and I had written a blog about it at the time, and I had tagged John in it, John Crippo, and like, hey, like, let you know, like, gave you credit because like you were the inspiration behind it. And then he started talking about it, and he wanted examples of it. So I was like, yeah, here, like, because I give everything away for free because that's what innovators do, right? Like, we create all of these great things, and then we just like, here, just take it, and we're terrible at like trying to monetize our own stuff. And so he started talking about it. And then I had a friend who was teaching first grade at the time. I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll create some for you too. And so then it just started to grow. And so now I have MathReps for grades K through high school.
That is such a powerful story. And honestly, I think it kind of reflects how, like, in education, like the right thing seems to come to us like, at exactly the right time sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that there's this idea that you were talking about in your brain. That's just how your brain works. I get the sense that you are always open to learning and always open to growing and then figuring out like the opportunities to make all those tools fit together, right?
Yeah.
And I also have to give you a huge shout out to math because I feel like anytime I've ever talked to teachers or trained a group of teachers, they're always like, but we're math teachers. And so I feel like they always feel like they're forgotten. But
And math is one of those weird kind of things. So, like, for looking at EduProtocols, you can take any EduProtocol and you can put it in an ELA setting. You can put it in a science setting. You can put it in social studies or history. And then you get math. And you're
right?
like, okay, what do we do? So it's kind of a little bit of a different beast, definitely.
And I've always loved EduProtocols, but I'm wondering if our listeners who may not be familiar with EduProtocols may not understand like how the approach to teaching differently with traditional lessons, like what exactly is an EduProtocol? Like if you could sum that up for us.
Yeah. So EduProtocols are what do they say? They are lesson frames or templates for busy teachers. So you can use the same type of lesson, like framework for any subject. So if you are reading something and you want them to write a paragraph, there's like a protocol for that. So it's just a protocol that you're going to use for whatever you need. So it's just a lesson frame. They're low prep. They work with any curriculum, any grade. You know, some modifications are going to need to be made, you know, depending on your class. And that's easy to do. They are high output. It's again low prep for the teachers. There's a lot of student learning. I always used to say, and I still do, the one who's doing the work is doing the learning. And so it puts a lot of the work on the students to do the work. So the students are the ones that are learning. And they like them. So a lot of them are gamified. It breaks it down. A lot of them are broken down into quick and not super quick, but they're easy. They're broken down so that the students can understand it and grasp it and be successful.
Yeah, I really feel like efficiency is the name of the game when it comes to the EduProtocols, not only for the teachers, which is great, like it saves teachers time, but it's also maximizing those like few minutes of attention that you have from your students at a time and really, like you said, shifting the learning and the work to them in a way that the teacher feels confident shifting it, not just saying, here's your assignment, go meet with your small group, but there's a protocol to guide them through that gives the teacher
Hmm.
confidence and also gives the students that confidence and autonomy to take control of their own learning. So I'm huge fan of EduProtocols and especially like you said, the adaptation to that math world. Again, I'm also a math girl. So I always appreciate that but I'm wondering about the connection between your work with MathReps and EduProtocols, and if that connects at all to your time at the Academy. Are there any strategies or themes that you picked up during your time at the Academy, or even within that community? Your evolution is so cool, that you see carrying forward in your work today?
Oh yeah, so definitely from the academy, that camaraderie, like I was talking about, and how we just freely share and talk and collaborate with things. That has definitely carried on, and to this day, if I have questions, I can always reach out to other people that I have met either within that community or even now outside of that community within like the whole teaching realm, EduProtocols, or within like the just teacher kind of platforms, right? And just say, hey, like I have an idea, like who can help me out with this? I want to test something out, and I can reach out to a whole bunch of people, and and they can reach out to me with questions as well. And we're just always kind of, I feel like it's a very giving kind of community of, yeah, like we're here for each other. We're all in this together. We all want, I'm here to like help somebody else be successful, and I feel like everybody's there to help me be successful, because it all leads back to the kids and what's going to be best for the kids. So, yeah.
So I love how you're always trying to make connections. Like it's all about like camaraderie and all about the idea of you saying that you're not just doing this work in isolation, but you want to share it. You want to like build better together type thing, right? So
Yeah.
um, when I was a teacher, especially during COVID, I had discovered all the math reps and they were on the site, and like people were so excited to grab them and share them. And I think at that time, what made them even more powerful was that they were on like a digital platform. So at that time, it was in Jamboard, which sadly, as we all know, is no longer like Jamboard graveyard. But so tell us a little bit about the website, or like how you're sharing MathReps now. How did Jamboard shape the way that teachers were using MathReps? I think it's amazing from this sort of ed tech perspective in space that some people think of designing something, but they don't really think about doing it digitally. So what platform is it on now? Like, what do you think about meshing all of those ideas together?
So yeah, shout out to Jamboard. We're very sad about that. The beauty of Jamboard was it was such a simple tool to use, and the kids could do, like it was the perfect tool at the time, especially when we all went into lockdown, because it was an easy tool to use and there wasn't a whole lot to manipulate. They actually originally started on Google Slides. So they're still on Google Slides to this day. So and when I did them, like I started doing them, I think in 2015, somewhere around there. So they're over a decade old now. Um, I would just print them off. So I'm a big fan of like having like the paper pencil sort of thing. And so a lot of teachers still do that. Goodness, they are everywhere. They are on, I have it written here somewhere. Oh, here it is. They are on, people use them and print them out, put them in plastic sleeves and write them that way. Love that. They are in Seesaw, thanks to Ben Cogswell and Jennifer Dean. They are white books. I actually have them right here next to me. Ugh. So like
Oh,
white books.
awesome.
Oh,
Oh,
wait, you can't
that's
see it.
cool.
Right. So like you can kind of catch flashes. They are on white books as well. Not all of them, but there's a portion of them on white books. They are on Kami, Kami. We love that tool as well. And they are on um, Snorkel now too. So
Ooh.
Snorkel has a whole section of math, not, yes, they have a section of math reps, but they have a whole section of EduProtocols. And the last one listed is math reps. And if you go into math reps, I have K through fourth in there. I need to get my rear end in gear and get the fifth grade ones up there. So they're slightly modified so that you can do it. But if you wanted to do it, and I'm working with a teacher now where in the classroom, she's a third grade teacher, we're doing them on the white books, and then we're taking a picture and putting them into Snorkel, and it's giving the students feedback that way. And so she's seeing success. She's there's a student who never talks in the classroom, and the student went on for 2 minutes of his explanation of the math. So I really like having it in Snorkel because now not only are they doing the math to show that they know the math, they're having to explain it as well. And so that's super, super powerful. I have them on, let's see, like I said, Google Slides and Canva as well. So I have like links to all of those things, and I just give it away for free.
Wow. All right. So let's talk. I mean, for you to go from this tiny idea that you had based on this one picture that you saw, and now it's, I mean, you just went on for a few minutes explaining all of the places it is. It started in your brain, this tiny
Yes.
idea, and then it was in your classroom and you like saw it in action, which a lot of us as educators have had that moment where you had an idea and then you see the kiddo learn and you see that face and that engagement. But now what you just described is an entire ride. Can you talk to us a little
Yeah.
bit about the emotional journey of going from idea to like nationwide, maybe worldwide spread of this incredible tool that's now out there for free and everyone should go get?
Yeah, I mean, it is wild for sure. It has been translated into French. I was talking to, this was a while ago, talking to somebody in Canada who was like in the Quebec region, and she was like, "Hey, can I translate this into French?" I was like, "Go for it, use it. Like, just put your name on the bottom of it too. Like, keep the original name, whoever made it." Because now I'm not the only one making them. Other people make them and they'll share them with me. And then I'll ask if I can also put it a part of the main collection. So, to give credit where credit is due, everybody's name is on the bottom. And if there's no name, it's probably me. Um, it's been amazing. So, just to kind of see it in my classroom, the first year that I did it, I was doing one of my favorite stories too, sorry, is one of my students was doing multiplication and division one, and in fifth grade, you don't have to do the traditional algorithm for division. So we were doing like the area model and all of those things, and he started doing this. Maverick was his name. I'll say it because he's now graduated. He was. He started doing the traditional algorithm, and so I started talking to him. I said, "Who taught you this?" Essentially, I didn't say it exactly that way. I was like, "Tell me about this." And it turns out, he goes, "Oh no, what happened was," this is like every math teacher's dream, by the way. I was looking at what we were doing, and I realized basically he realized through what we were doing, he realized he taught himself the traditional algorithm because of how it was set up, and we were doing it every day. I was like, "Oh my God." Like that's my favorite story of all time. Like that is like, again, every math teacher's dream to be like, "You taught yourself that because like the system worked." Oh my God. It was amazing. And then just to kind of have that happen, and then John started talking about it. Fun fact, I was not the first person to ever present a math rep to at a conference. I had been rejected, and then other people have presented it before I got to present it. Yeah. Apparently, I'm really bad at writing proposals. So and and then just to kind of watch it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then have John say, "Hey, you should write a book with start with MathReps being the basis of it, and then have more EduProtocols or math EduProtocols into it." And I was like, "That is a fantastic idea." And so then that happened, and then I got together with my co-author Jeremiah Roosh, and we wrote it, and just to see it go so big and to see the EduProtocols community get so big it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. So, and it's really fun to talk to people, and I've had there is uh oh, I can't remember her name now. Um, there was a woman who created something called Nacho Problem because there's an edit protocol called Nacho Paragraph. So, like, you rewrite a paragraph that's not yours. So there's a math problem that's not yours, and it's a Nacho problem. But it's basically error analysis, and she created it, and it's this whole amazing thing, and people are just freely sharing and creating things. I love it.
I love how you've shared your entire progression about just starting out, and you're like, other people are just completely sharing my thing. But it does sound like it is a community that is they have the ability to just share and build on each other. And I think that's kind of what's amazing about EduProtocols on social media. Like it seems like a passionate community of educators who do want to support each other or come up with different iterations or wanting to collaborate with each other to try different things. You've told some amazing stories about like the conference and talking about meeting up with people to write a full-blown book. But tell us a little bit more about like the Edu Protocols community. Is that like where do you mostly go to look for things? I know there's like a Facebook page maybe.
Yes.
I think there's like Edu Protocols Plus maybe. I'll let you talk more about it. But like where are some spaces that if you're like, I want to get on this Edu Protocols community, like where would you go?
Yeah, so they're everywhere. So like my stuff is at mathreps.com. I know you had asked it earlier and then I totally glazed over that. Sorry about that. So my stuff is on mathreps.com. You can find everything, all of the places that my stuff is at. Everything is linked there. EduProtocols is on eduprotocolsplus.com. I think they also have an eduprotocols.com. And then, like you said, there's a Facebook community as well. So there's a very large Facebook community, EduProtocols. I think it's just called EduProtocols. I have one called MathReps and Math EduProtocols as well. So that's a lot smaller. Um, and so and yeah, so there's the EduProtocols Facebook community is really large, and there's all people are always posting things on there, ideas. So it's not just math things that are on the EduProtocols community. It's like I said, it's the math, it's the science, it's the social studies, it's the ELA, it's everything is on there as well. So all grade levels, and yeah, it's pretty big on Facebook. So that's probably your best bet if you're an old head, as my friend would say, and you're on Facebook. That's the place to go.
Well, I am, and I am to both of those things. I am in the community, and I just love seeing, I think my favorite part is seeing the success stories from teachers sharing like little tiny stories, blips, and like the pictures of the successes that they're having. And you can like feel the emotional component of the teacher seeing that success in their students, like what you described with Maverick, like that moment of like, yes, like this is real learning, this is real meaning and really impactful. And the fact that it's coming through a community support is just
Hmm.
so cool. So I'm curious, I know like MathReps is your baby, but
Yes.
outside of MathReps, is there another favorite edu protocol that you have?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the gateway one, we call it the gateway one, is called Fast and Curious. So it's they all have flashy names. Um, excuse me. And with Fast and Curious, I did this in my classroom. So, oh, I have another story. I am just full of stories. Is let me just tell you that.
Oh, you're
Like
here.
everything is a story for me. So Fast and Curious, I did it with math. So you can do it with math. You can do it with prefixes and suffixes. I also did it with. You can do it with vocabulary words. Lots of things you can do. So you get a website like Wayground. I personally used Wayground. You can use Blooket, Kahoot, whatever you want. And you just give them like the facts. So I have a third grade team who does this. They've done this for years. They give them, say, all the multiples of two. So the two times facts, right? And so on Monday, we're going to do the two times facts, and it's going to be multiple choice. And on Monday, we're going to go through it on quizzes or Kahoot, excuse me, Wayground, Kahoot, whatever. And we take the score. And then we're going to go through that same day, right after it, we're going to go through all of the answers. These are the answers. This is how, real quick. And now we're going to take that again. And we're going to write down that score. So we have our high and our low. And then you do it once on Tuesday, once on Wednesday, once on Thursday, once on Friday. And um, you just do that every week with like new facts. And then the next week, this third grade team will do it with a fill in the blank. So it's no longer, so now you have to fill in the blank. And they watch those scores. I walked into that classroom, one of the classrooms, and they had a 99%, I think it was, on one of their quizzes. I think it was 99, and they were so bummed that I think they were like I think it was like 2 questions that were missed, and they were so bummed that they didn't get the 100%. When I was doing it in the classroom with math facts with multiplication in 5th grade, I had a student who, if she got, because she knew, because we were using Wayground, she knew if she got one wrong, she would get that bonus at the end, so like she can make up that question, right? And so she knew she got more than two wrong, that she would not get 100%. So she would log out and then go back in and try it in that time period. And I knew what she was doing, and I was watching her do it. I didn't care. Like, she was doing more work than everybody else. What do I care? And so the kids started catching on to this. They're like, that's not fair. So and so is doing that, and she's cheating. I'm like, but is she? They're like, what? I was like, she's going in, instead of doing the 10 questions, she's done maybe 15 or 18 questions. They're like, oh. I'm like, she's doing more work than the rest of you. So I let it go, and they're like, oh. So like the kids are like really trying to do better because they want the good score. So they're going in and doing more work. So it's really fun to watch that one. So that was a really fun and easy one to do because, again, it's low prep. I didn't have to do anything with, in Wayground. I can go in Wayground. I can search up for, prefixes and suffixes or multiplication facts. I can look all of that up in Wayground, and they have it ready to go. And that's the easy part.
I think what is the tagline of EduProtocols? It's to teach less.
Teach less, work
less, teach
less,
more.
teach more. Yeah, work less.
You just embody that whole idea. It's okay. You just embody that whole idea. Sharing out that Edge protocol. We're gonna wrap it up with a final question, but I think what's been very strong about this entire conversation that you've had is that the idea of having a supportive community that shares ideas, it doesn't just share something you do. You're in a whole entire space where you're trying to elevate each other's ideas. Like, it helps educators see this possibility that they might not have considered, and it pushes all of us to grow like in more creative, more intentional ways. And I just need to tell you that your work with MathReps was just such a great, like, powerful example of what that is, because you didn't just create something really effective. I always loved using it, but you created something that other educators can take, they can adapt, they can build, they can put it in their classroom, and seeing it grow across everywhere and being so happy about that. And then, like, speaking about how much impact they had, when sometimes as teachers you just want to kind of like cling to that idea, right? But you've like taken it, and it just speaks volumes about what you've managed to do for teachers and with teachers. And I just think that's amazing. So for our listeners who might have an idea of a strategy or something that they're like, this is working so well, but this is my thing, or I'm going to take this small thing, like, how could they take that idea and share it with a wider community? What would your advice be for that?
Just share it wherever you are, wherever you're comfortable sharing it. Like I have teacher friends who are on TikTok. Share it on TikTok. If you're on Facebook, get into some of the teacher communities. We're all in the teacher communities, right? Share it on Facebook. Share it on wherever you want to share it. If you have a blog, if you have a dream of having a blog, just start it and do it. Nothing bad is going to happen. Like, it's all great. Like, I am such a fan of, if you want to do it, just try it. Like, the worst is going to happen is like nothing bad is going to happen. So I think everybody should just go out, and if you want to share something, where are you at? Even if it's just in your, I say it's even if it's in your own community, if your own school, but like, we know how that works in our schools, right? Like, very few people in my district use MathReps, but like everybody else uses it. Like, you can't, so I just share it wherever. And if people like it, great. If people want to iterate it, that's great too. Always, I'm a big fan of, like, just make sure you're giving credit to the original person as well. Like, don't take anybody's idea and, pretend it's yours. Just always give credit to where credit's due. Say, I did this, but it was based on this. So just share it everywhere. Yeah.
What great advice, and what an amazing story. Thank you so much for taking the time to share that with us. Before we let you go, we are obviously going to have MathReps and EduProtocols linked in our description for this episode for everyone to see. But is there anything you have coming up that you want to plug or talk about while we have you?
Yeah, so this summer in July, if you happen to be in the Laguna Beach, California area, or you want to come to the Laguna Beach, California area, EduProtocols is having their summer academy. It is at a campus. I can't remember the name of the school. I think it's El Moro Elementary School, I believe. It is right on the coast. It is the most beautiful campus you have ever seen for like even for high school, like, but it's an elementary school. The classrooms are beautiful. The scenery is gorgeous. You stand out on their field and look out at the ocean. Like, it is amazing. You're
Are
surrounded
they
by a bunch,
hiring?
right? Um, one of the authors actually works at that school. Kim Vogie works at that school and in that district. So she's lucky enough to be there every day. Um, yeah, so we're going to be, so EduProtocols will be there. So you can find out more information on that at eduprotocolsplus.com. It's 2 days of being surrounded by like-minded people. A lot of the authors are there giving presentations. So it's just 2 full fun days. There's one of the evenings we kind of get together at a restaurant and just kind of hang out and, mix and chill and get to know each other. So it's a really good time.
Thank you so much for coming on our podcast today and sharing your amazing, incredible work and everything that you've been doing. Everybody who are our listeners, go check out the EduProtocols Plus Summer Academy. If you haven't heard about EduProtocols before, go ahead and check out EduProtocols. If you do have EduProtocols, it's one of your favorite, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. If you are a Google innovator and you want to come in here and share your story and you have an amazing journey that you also want to share, please come on to the podcast and sign up. If you're an aspiring innovator who's thinking about applying, then this is your sign. You better go for it. We'll see you guys next time. Stay connected, stay inspired, and keep it unscripted.